Every job has a boss story, the kind you tell at dinner years later, still shaking your head. But most people never realize their nightmare boss fits a pattern that's been studied and repeated in offices everywhere. Today, we're breaking down 6 types of toxic bosses, what's actually driving their behavior underneath, and what you can do about it before it quietly drains you. First, the one almost everyone has worked under at least once, the micromanager. Every email gets a reply asking for more detail than the task ever needed. You hand in a finished project, and instead of feedback, you get a full rewrite with barely any real changes, just enough so it technically becomes theirs. This isn't really about quality control, it's about anxiety, the manager's own fear of being blamed if something goes wrong on their watch. Controlling every detail feels to them like controlling the risk itself. But it silently signals zero trust, and people under constant surveillance stop taking initiative. Teams start underreporting problems because raising an issue early just invites more scrutiny, which of course only confirms the manager's original fear. The fix: over-communicate before they have to ask. Send the update before the check-in lands. It's the fastest way to earn the autonomy they're not handing you voluntarily. Next, a quieter kind of damage, the credit stealer. You solve the hard problem nobody else wanted to touch. Stay late fixing what nobody noticed was broken. Then in the big meeting, your boss presents it as their own idea, and your name doesn't come up once. This is usually a pattern with people deeply insecure about their own position, especially in unstable organizations where visibility with leadership starts to feel like survival. Taking credit is, in a distorted way, them protecting their own job security at your expense. Once this happens a few times, talented people quietly stop putting in their best effort or leave, and the boss never connects their own behavior to the drop in output. What works here is a paper trail, not a confrontation. Send updates in writing as you go, see the right people early, so credit gets attached to your name before the final meeting, not scrambled for during it. Third, the opposite problem on paper, but just as damaging, the absent leader. Your boss is buried in meetings, slow to reply, essentially invisible exactly when decisions need to get made. The team ends up guessing at direction, and guessing wrong often enough that it becomes a running joke. Sometimes this is simple overload, but often it's avoidance. Someone promoted into leadership without ever wanting the weight of it, who unconsciously disappears from anything uncomfortable to own out loud. Projects drift without a clear owner, small disagreements never get resolved, and deadlines slip not because anyone stopped working, but because nobody had the authority to say which direction was correct. The workaround: stop waiting for permission on small decisions. Document your reasoning and move forward. An absent leader rarely objects to visible progress after the fact. Fourth, the loudest one on this list, and still far more common than most workplaces admit, the screamer. Raised voices everyone can hear through the walls. Public correction instead of a quiet word in private. A tense walk past their office every morning because you never know which version of them you're getting. This usually isn't about you or your mistake. Yelling is a stress response, and bosses who default to it typically have poor emotional regulation, using volume to control a situation that feels like it's spiraling. It works short-term because fear gets fast compliance. Long-term, it destroys honest communication because nobody wants to trigger tomorrow's outburst by bringing up today's bad news. What helps? Staying calm and factual in the moment, refusing to match their energy, and documenting incidents if it becomes a pattern. This is one of the few types where involving HR directly is genuinely the right move, not an overreaction. Fifth, a form of toxicity that's harder to prove because it's never officially stated out loud. The favoritism boss. One person can seemingly do no wrong. The exact same mistake from anyone else gets flagged immediately. Promotions, good projects, the benefit of the doubt, they all flow to the same 1 or 2 people, while everyone else quietly notices and says nothing. This usually comes down to comfort, not merit, however it gets dressed up afterward. Managers gravitate toward people who remind them of themselves, mistaking that comfort for genuine competence. Over time, the whole team starts optimizing for being liked by the boss, rather than for doing genuinely good work. The most effective response isn't complaining about the favorite, it's making your own contributions impossible to overlook, in writing, consistently, so the gap becomes visible over time. And finally, the most damaging type on this list, because it affects whether you can trust your own judgment at all. The gaslighter boss. You raise a real concern calmly. They tell you that never happened, or you're remembering it wrong, or you're being too sensitive. Over time, you stop trusting your own read on situations entirely because the story keeps quietly getting rewritten right in front of you. This is manipulation, not miscommunication. Confusion first, then self-doubt, then compliance, because doubting yourself starts to feel easier than fighting a story that keeps shifting. The damage rarely stays at work. People dealing with a gaslighting boss often start second-guessing themselves in unrelated parts of their life too. The one thing that breaks this pattern, write things down immediately while the details are still fresh. Dates, exact quotes, decisions made in the room. Not to build a case, just so you have an anchor nobody can quietly edit out from under you. 6 bosses, 6 different tactics on the surface, but almost always the same root cause underneath. Someone managing their own insecurity by controlling, avoiding, or distorting the people around them, instead of doing the harder work of actually learning to lead. Which one did you recognize? Tell us in the comments. There's a good chance we're missing your personal worst one. Subscribe, there's more nobody's telling you.